going on, YouTube fam? Welcome back. Tried that handbrake cable this morning, still super seized, so it's just gonna have to go back in to its little concoction of oil and petrol for probably a week. I'll try it again like next week. Hopefully that sorts it out. So yeah, last night got tail shaft and everything in, which has been really nice progress. It's all looking quite good. So what I'm working on today at the moment is going to be exhaust. So I have to custom make a dump pipe to suit the 6-bolt T28 flange, which I have here. So I've got custom make a dump pipe to sit this, and I've got here the remnants of what was left of my old exhaust, plus just a heap of other mandrel stuff I've got, and my 3 resonators to shut it up a bit. So that's going to be pretty much today's job at this point. I was going to bleed the brakes up and everything, but I'm not quite sure whether these rear calipers are going to be seized or not, and I don't really want to bleed them up and have them seize on and then not be able to move it. So I'm going to wait until the car's nearly running, so that if I need to, I can sort of take it for a drive and get them a bit hot, which usually helps them if they're a bit sticky. So Rex has spent the weekend putting some rad doofs in the XR6 turbo, get it really nice and dailyable. As you can see, it's pretty much all pulled apart. Bar looks good though, bar's all painted up, so looking nice. Anyway, Rex is pretty sure he might have some sharper bends left over from when we did the V80 exhaust, this beast. So I'm going to go down and have a look, because those bends that I've got there, the mandrel ones, are only like 30s, like 30 degrees, and they're just not quite enough for the dump that I want to do. It's pretty good if you put two together, two 30s together is like perfect, but putting them together you lose a bit much, so if we can find some 45s it'll be a lot better off.
I thought I had more. That's all I got left.
Well, that's a bit short.
But that's a tight radius 120.
Yeah.
So if you needed something pretty sharp, like that's a really tight radius bend.
Yeah.
It's not your normal one. So I mean, if you needed something sharper, you could always just cut what you want out of that.
Yeah.
And just sort of.
I'll take it up with me, but I shouldn't need it.
Yeah.
Righto, so I didn't have any smaller bends, but these 30s, when you put 2 of them together, is pretty much perfect for what I need. So that's what it's going to be. I'll just cut that a bit shorter. Doesn't need to be that long, and yeah, start trying to fab up what's going to be a bit of a dump pipe. So this is what I've come up with to start with. So this is my first little 45 that I made. I decided it'd be a really good idea to make it with the bend still in it, because it gives the actual piece a lot more structural integrity. Whereas if you're trying to squash just a straight piece, you would most likely oval the other end of it, but with the bend in it, it actually helps keep this end very nice and round. So I've bent that and used some nice persuasion with a ball peen hammer to sort of get the shape of the main exhaust side of the flange. So it's going to sit there pretty nicely in its position. So then I've marked on the side of the piece where it meets the flange at each side, and I'm going to cut this out with a grinder, and my plan is to pretty much get a piece of that offcut, squash it to the shape where it's going to fit nicely and weld in there, and pick up this wastegate part here. So that's pretty much the idea of the dump, and hopefully it sort of works out. It's just a real pain because there's really not much room in these to get a bolt, so you got to try and keep it far enough away from the bolt holes that you can get a bolt in there, and you got to remember you still got to get a weld on it. So it's a bit of a pain, but it's just every fabrication manufacturing process is just long and tedious, but you just got to take your time and get it right, otherwise your life is just hell forever. If you get it right, it makes life easy for the rest of the time you have the car, because you've made it right and you can get it on and off and work with it alright. But anyway, I'm going to cut this out and see if what I want to do is going to work. So this is more or less what I've come up with. As you can see, profile follows the whole flange, and that should be fine. That should work fine. So a few big gaps there to fill, but that's a good thing about the MIG, is it's relatively easy to fill big gaps with the MIG. But I think it should be pretty good. Yeah. So this is what I've ended up with. Apart from being very ugly, it is going to be effective and work. So yeah, didn't turn out as bad as I thought. Wasn't as bad as I thought it would be to make. I can't get that bottom middle hole, but that's okay. I'll just put the good gasket in it and pump it full of Mani Seal on the gasket, and I think it should be fine. And that's pretty much finished product of that. So now I've just got to finish building the rest of the dump from there, which should be fine, should be good. Alrighty, so this is what I've got so far pretty much. I haven't really been filming much because it's very long and tedious, this process, but
you've seen it all before.
it's not pretty, but it's gonna do the job. I was saying to Rex just before, it's like my ugly baby. It's ugly, but I love it. I'm very proud of it actually, even though it's disgusting. But
please vote for our baby in the Bonds dump pipe search for 2019.
Anyway, my welds are getting better. This is all just MIG'd, even though a lot of it's stainless, and again, it's one of those things that I just made out of just stuff that I had. So to sort of actually get it done and to have it pretty nice I'm pretty stoked with it. That's for O2 sensor. That's a bung for a wideband, which I do plan on putting in the car eventually. Even if not, it's good to have the bung there for if you ever want to tune it. But yeah, this is as far as I've got so far. I put a V-band here. I'm not touching that because it's still very hot. That V-band sort of ends up about here, and then I'll put another one behind the first resonator about here. So to take the turbo off, we'll have to just drop this middle section of exhaust, and then we can get the turbo out through the bottom. And that was the whole idea of using the V-band, is because I hate having to take the flanges off the back of the turbo. They're a real prick to get at all the time. But anyway, that's pretty much all I'm gonna have time for today. I've got to pack up and go home and get ready for work tomorrow, so this is going to be the end of this episode. It's probably going to be pretty short, but the exhaust is on the way. It's getting there, and I'm pretty stoked with the progress that's been made today on the car. Oh, not today, this weekend, sorry. So stoked to have the car with motor, gearbox, clutch, everything, tail shaft, everything's in the car, brakes are hooked up, everything's sort of there, so not long to go now. It's getting very close. Just got to finish off this exhaust, wire in the ECU, sort out them thermos, and build the intake, which is all just buy and bolt together. And then it's ready to go get tuned, and then I can start sorting out the interior and stuff. So, but yeah, it's getting there. It's getting close, and I'm getting excited. So thanks for watching, guys, as always, and I'll see you on the next one, which will be when I have short hair. Alright, so I've just got it beached. Definitely gonna have to do something about this shed access, because it is beached as. TI wheels are looking good, but I'm liking them. Alright, is looking low, is looking good. Kind of liking the TI wheels. Pretty cool, very low, and it's still got aero to go on yet too, so it's gonna be very low. Also really digging the chrome under the door, under the windows and the doors. Really liking it. Cool. Very cool.